Hello everyone, welcome to this onboarding video. In this video we'll be having I'll be walking us through a couple of features on the system. We'll go over how to create appointments and send out appointment links and bookings. We'll go over how to create your email marketing or send out your invitation templates or invitation emails to your stakeholders. We'll also be looking at how to create surveys and view the surveys that have already been created on the system. And lastly, we'll be going over how to use projects and how to create tasks and how that has already been configured on the system for you. So let us jump right into it. So we're going to start off with the appointment module. So first thing we do is go into the appointment module and we can now go to appointment types. Right. While that is loading, so let's assume a client calls or you have the in-country team have an allotted amount of days and times that they'll be available to have meetings. What they can do is they can come into the system and create a new appointment type. As you can see, we've already configured initiative review and stakeholder list review appointments. But let me just show you how to create one for yourself if you wanted to. So we just quickly create a new. Once you select that, you can put in your title, test, just do test appointment, test, put in the description, the duration of this appointment, buffers before the appointment. So if you want to have a 1 hour break between each appointment, you can have that. You can also put your reminder, how many hours before the appointment starts to get a reminder. And here is where the URL for the appointment will be shared. And you can assign someone to the appointment as well as add the weekdays you'll be available. So for example, if I add a line, I can see 9 to 5. If I want to select the day for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so let's say this is 9 to 5 for Monday, I can do the same thing, add a line and select for whatever day of the week I want. So we're not going to save this, we're just going to discard all these changes because it's not relevant. And let's jump into an appointment that we've already created. So let's say your in-country team member is going to be available according to you guys. You guys also be available during the weekend. We have created an appointment for that. This is a 1 hour meeting like you initially said. We can see the time frame: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you do not want to have Sunday, you can just quickly come here and delete it by clicking on this button and it will delete. So now that you have created your appointment, you have assigned it to whoever is going to be responsible, we can go ahead and show you what the stakeholder is going to see once they click on this link when you send it to them. So Control C. And let me just pop that into a new tab so you can see what that would look like. So this is exactly what the stakeholder would see once they click on that link. It's going to bring them to this page. They'll see all of this and then they can select whatever day they want. So for example, they want on the 11th. Once they select 11th, they are going to see all the available time slots that you have prepared for the 11th. So it's starting 8 a.m., 9 a.m. So if, let's say, they are going to be available 11 a.m. Once they do that, they fill in their name, put in their email, and put in their phone number, and they can go ahead and confirm this. Once they do that, it confirmed on the back end as an appointment. So we're not going to do that because this is your live system. I just wanted to show you what that would look like. Now, let's assume a client does not want to go this route. You know, your stakeholders are very busy and they might have personal assistants that they will just tell, oh, I'm going to be free on Wednesday by 4 p.m. You know, set that up with your team. So the person responsible for that on your team would just now have to come into the system and create a booking for this appointment. So they just go into the system and go into bookings under the appointments. Once they select that, as you can see, we have a couple of appointments that we've already set up. You can now create a new booking. So now this booking will be tailored to the customer. So the customer's name is, let's say the customer is my company, because we don't have any customer data on the system just yet. Sorry, it's loading. Yeah, select my company, put in, text, email. You can put in your phone number, appointment type. Now here you select the appointment type if it is the initiative review appointment or the stakeholder review list. So let's assume this is a stakeholder review list. So you can just select that. You can put the assigned to, who is this assigned to, because we just have the admin on the system. We're just going to select admin. And start date, end date, select that as well. Say we want it to start tomorrow, and then obviously the end date is also tomorrow too. And we can say, obviously this is 1 hour meeting, so we can say 19. And then we can just go ahead and save. And if we save this, automatically populates on the system. Just save it and show you what that would look like. And then later on, we'll go ahead and delete all these fake appointments that have been created on the system. So if we jump back into bookings right now, sorry, network, just give me a second. Okay, so we jump back into bookings. You can see that all the appointments that we've created, that appointment that we just created is right here. Stakeholder list review at the bottom here. So that's basically how you create your appointments and how you can send out appointment links. So you've seen how to copy the appointment link. That way you can put it in an email and send it out. And then after you've selected your appointment, everything is confirmed. You can now go ahead and create your Google Meets virtual links and have them ready for your appointment. So now that we've covered appointments, I want us to move on to emails and how to send your invitation templates out, or sorry, your invitation emails out. So first things first, let's go over to the email marketing module. Let's just select that. Then we can go to mailings. So let's click on mailings. All right. So we have previously configured the onboarding email for advisory committee and the onboarding email for steering committee. If you wanted to create your own email, you can just go to new. Once you go to new, you can create whatever email you want to create. Let's say the subject is test. And then your mailing list here, you can configure your mailing list already on the system. So all these mailing lists have already been pre-configured. And then you can just select, let's say it's your contact list that you want to send this email template to. It is a blacklist, is not obviously. Yeah. So this is for your contacts if you wanted to send this to, and then you can also select the type of email template you want. If it's plain text, start from scratch, welcome message, event promo, all these templates are available to you. You can just choose the one that fits whatever message you're trying to send out. So if we say blank text, it's just going to be a blank text. So we don't need this right now, so I'm just going to discard it. And let's jump back into the mailing that we have created for you. So for this, we've created the advisory committee and the steering committee. So let's jump into the steering committee. As you can see, the email template that you gave to us has already been populated into the system. If you scroll, all the action points have been reduced to the number that you wanted it to be. So you wanted them to just provide for funding partners and also for institutions. And at the bottom of the email, if you want to put the appointment link here as well, you could, put it here and then they can just click on it and access. Or you can also send a different email out saying, oh, hey, this is the appointment link, kindly choose your available time. You can also do that here. So this template is easily editable. I can just Ctrl V, and right there we have the link that I had initially copied. Okay, so we have this for the advisory committee and we have the same for the steering committee as well. So if we move on here, now we can see we are in the steering committee version. Now let's show you how the mailing list works. So let's go to mailing list. So on that mailing list, you have your mailing contact list and you have your mailing list. So mailing contact, let's click on that. Yeah, so for all the contacts, this would show you all the contacts that you have on the system right now. There are no contacts except the administrator on the system, so you will not see that. But once that is imported, you'll be able to see everything. So if we click here, click into administrator, we can see all the mailing lists that the administrator is a part of. Administrator is a part of newsletter mailing list, and administrator is also a part of stakeholder mailing list. So when you create your mailing list here on that mailing list, right? We have stakeholder, steering committee, newsletter. So we can also have advisory committee as well. And once you create all the relevant mailing lists, so let's just create the new one, advisory committee, and just see what that looks like. So you can see advisory. Oh wait, did I not spell committee properly? Yeah. Okay. You can select that, and here you can see the recipients if there are any. There are none for now because we just created this. And you can save and jump back into mailing list. So if I click on recipients, so here I can now create or import my mailing list. So everybody on the advisory committee, I can just import them directly here. So I don't have to do it manually and add it one by one. So that's another way to do it. So if I click on import, I'll be able to import the advisory committee into this particular folder, and they will be associated with the advisory committee mailing list. So once I'm here, if I go back to the mailings that we already created and go to the one for advisory committee, if I select this, I can change this mailing list. I'm sorry, the internet's a little bit sluggish, but I'm sure when you're doing this on your own system with perfect internet, it will be just as fast. It will be faster, sorry, not just as fast. Right? I can search more. Oh, okay, sorry. So select the mailing list first. So this is the mailing list that I want. And then steering committee. If I don't want it to be steering committee, I can close this and make it advisory committee. So you see, advisory committee. So now it will be everybody in the advisory committee that will be receiving this email. So that's basically how this works. Once you're done, you send it out. You can also test. You can schedule when you want to send it out. If you want to send it out now, you want to send it out later, you can also do that. So now that we've covered your mailing and your appointment setup, I would like for us to move on to surveys, because part of this process is during your appointment, your first appointment or your first meeting is to discuss, the initiatives, and also set up the survey so that they can fill it out for your next meeting where you review the stakeholders that they have already provided. So if we want to do that, or if we want to automate that process, we quickly go into surveys, and then we can see all the surveys that have been created for this particular purpose. So now we're in surveys. We can quickly see that we've created two different surveys, one with 106 questions, the other with 56 questions. So if you wanted to create a new survey, you just go ahead and click on new, but I'm just going to show us the ones that have already been created and just, show us what the test looks like. So if I jump into it right now, Here you can see funding partner as a section, and the name, name of contact person, email, and contact person's phone number, all associated with this funding partner section, right? Same for women ready for trade. It's a section as well. You have another section for women preparing for trade, and lastly, institutions supporting women. So let's see what this survey would look like in the eyes of the participant or in the eyes of the stakeholders. So we're just going to go over to test. So while this is coming up, this is basically going to be the view that the participant or the stakeholders are going to see. So they just see this and they click start the survey. Survey starts. Here are a list of all your funding partners available on the system, and then they can choose from this list and provide us with the contact details from the people on this list. There's also a message here, showing them or explaining to them what to do. Select, choose up to 5 organizations from this list provided above. Alternatively, you are welcome to suggest your own 5 organizations if they are not included in the list. So here they just go with the name, contact, email, and contact person. They repeat this sequence for 4 more times just to achieve the goal number of 5. Once they're done with that, they click on continue, and then they move on to the next section, which is women ready for trade. And same process, you review, you scroll to the bottom, same message available. Now it's 3 organizations that they need to choose from or add their own 3 additional organizations. Same thing, name, contact person, email address, and phone number. Repeat that 2 other times, and that is done. The same applies for women women preparing for trade. Same thing applies. And then the same applies for supporting institutions. So yeah, this is what the survey would look like. You can share the survey link in an email with the customer. You can share the email with the stakeholder or relevant stakeholder. So let's go back into it. So now that we're still in this survey, if I had filled that survey successfully, it will populate as 1 participation. So right now it says 0 because no one has successfully filled this. Once your stakeholders start filling out the survey, you're going to start seeing this number grow from 1 to 2 to 3 to however many people have filled the survey. So if you want to share the survey, you can either click share, which is right here. Oh, right. And then here, you can either send out an email if you select this button, send an email, or you can just copy this. That way you can put this in a mailing list and send it out to almost everybody at the same time as compared to sending it on an individual basis. So that's basically how the survey works. Now let me show you how, if you wanted to create your own survey, you can just quickly go to new. And now you're basically doing that by yourself. You can just say test survey, assign who's responsible for this, and then you can quickly jump into the questions and options and descriptions and end message for the survey. So for questions, let's say you want to add a section. You know how we had funding partner section. So this is basically what that is. So let's just say test section. Right? You can edit it. So if you open this up, right? Click on edit. So this is me now adding a question to this section. I can say, what is your name? That way I can choose what option I want them to fill. Is what is your name in numerical value? I doubt it. So it can be a single line text box or a multiple line text box. Imagine if this was an address, you want them to have enough space to type out the address. So you can put a multi-line text box. It can also be a multi-choice question if you have multiple names for them to select from. So basically that's how this works. You can go to options. If you want this question to be mandatory, you can select that. If you want to add comments and you want those comments to show, you can select that too. Question time limit. If this was like a scoring type of situation, which is not, you can select that. So this is where you configure all of that. So we're just going to close because we don't want to do that now. on this section, if I wanted to edit it, here, this is where we put the tables for the organizations that they needed to select from. So you have this option to do that, copy and paste whatever you want to paste in here, and it will be the first thing they see before they get to the questions to answer. So that's how this survey setup works, but we do not care for this survey, so we're just going to delete it and say bye-bye to the record. So while that is deleting, the next phase and final phase that we're going to just walk through would be the project phase. Here we're going to see how all of that plays out, how all the tasks we've created on the system, how they are aligned, and how you can move them from new stage to the done stage. So let's quickly jump into projects. So we're going to go navigate to the project module, select projects. And here you can see the Ghana onboarding project, and we have a test project that was just created for the essence of this demo. So if you wanted to create a project, simple, you can just click new. And once you do that, you can say test project. And once I click create project, it automatically creates on the system. All right. So let's jump back to projects. As you can see, the test project that we created is already here on the system. Now let's actually go into the project that was created for the purpose of this. These two will be deleted right after this meeting. So if we go to the Ghana onboarding, you can see that we would have created all the tasks associated with the event planners and the PR team. Your tasks were listed up to week 10, so there are different tasks for each week. As you can see on this new column, there are a bunch of tasks, and it might look a little bit scary. Never mind, we're here to help. So we streamlined this process for you by creating a special filter. So once you go into this and you click on this drop down button at the top here, the moment you select task, it would basically group every task according to the week that they have been allotted or they have been assigned to. So once you select that, okay, so as you can see, we have all the tasks in week 1, week 2, week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now that we have this set up for you like that, sorry, okay, jump back into it. Sorry, it's taking a little bit longer than I thought. Yeah, exactly. So just click on task here. So while this is loading, we can just quickly explain this view that we're looking at. So right now you have tasks that are new. Once a task is completed or is in progress, you can just drag it into the in progress column, and then from there you would have moved it to the done column. So now that we've grouped everything by week, let's go into one task and see how that would look. So if I click into create and submit full project management to management checklist, this is what that task looks like. From here, I can assign it to the relevant party. So right now it's just administrator that's on the system, but if there were other parties on the system, I'll be able to assign this task to them. I can also put a deadline for this task as well. Let's say this task is supposed to have been done and completed before yesterday. You can set the deadline as yesterday, today, or tomorrow. Whatever date aligns with when this task should have been carried out, you set up that deadline. Then, as this task is going on, you can either move it to in progress. So let's say I just started working on this. I can quickly move this to in progress by selecting the in progress button. Now it's in progress. Once I'm done, I can actually from here mark it as done and still move it to done field so that it is highlighted in the done stage. And so now this project has been moved to done. So if we jump back into our task, Sorry. It's a little bit slow. But again, this is my internet, not yours. So when you would be using the system, it would be much faster based on your internet speed. Apologies for this internet delay. Let me try and switch networks. Okay, so now that we've jumped back into task, let's remove this filter just so that we can see how it was before. And we can now see that that task that I moved to the done stage is now in done from that other view. So if I click on it, let's just revert back, seeing as we don't know if this is done or yet. So just move this back to in progress, and it's back to the new column. If I go back to task,